Hello, viewers. Welcome to the best corner in the worst community in all of the internet, that being the MMA community, and this being the blue corner. Today, I'm joined, as always, by Hendrix.
I'm the best boxer at the UFC, baby. What's good, everyone? How y'all doing?
For the first time, he's still the same guy. He's the max guy last time. He's a max guy this time. He might be more of a
Hell,
max guy this time.
hell yeah. It's like a Pokemon evolution. And, speaking of evolutions, why do you have your gi on? Did you get like a new belt or something?
I didn't get a new belt. This gi is to pay homage to the best grappler in the UFC, the best jiu-jitsu artist, I should say, which is Alex Pereira. And that's where we're going to start. Alex Pereira got his black belt with that insanely good jiu-jitsu performance. Um, he grappled Jamal Hill's soul into the afterlife. Um, and that was incredible. And so last pod, I was like, I'm a fan of Pereira, so I was like, I want to pick him based on bias, but I felt like Jamal Hill was just really scary. And there was one day when I just woke up and I just said, "What the hell am I talking about?" And that's why like my prediction on fight day was Pereira, because I just woke up and I'm like, "What am I saying?" We have a great kickboxer versus one of the best kickboxers of all time. I don't understand. And he says wrestling's not going to be a factor. I just I'm like, what am I talking about, dude? This is gonna be so obvious.
Mm.
And it was.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care who you are, whether you picked Jamal, whether you picked Pereira. I don't think anyone could have predicted the first clean shot landed in that entire fight would put the dude out. Like Jesus Christ. Shout out to Alex Pereira. I mean, he made Jamal tap with that left hook.
Hmm.
So kudos to him getting his black belt. Um, he's a scary guy. You know, obviously a lot of people are coming at me now because I may have said a few things here and there about Alex questioning his abilities, and I may have hyped up Jamal Hill maybe a little more than he should have been hyped. And, I had my reasons. I laid them out. You can't call me crazy when I gave you the reasoning, but I guess we see time and time again in kickboxing, there are levels to this, and Alex Pereira is as good as everyone thinks he is. And at 205, this dude is a freak of nature, insane power, insane timing, insane distance management. I mean, the way he pushed Herb Dean out of the way because he found the range on Jamal and he wanted that hook perfectly lined up. I mean, and also the emo, like, I never in my wildest dreams thought I'd see Alex Pereira hit the what are those on someone, but here we are. And my question is to everyone watching, who can stop Alex Pereira?
You want to know the answer?
What if?
Israel Adesanya.
Uh,
But we're not ready for that conversation. I
okay.
don't, but we're right now we're talking about Magomed. We're talking about Magomed soon. I don't think that I'm going to pick Magomed.
I don't think Magomed's ever been reliable to pick ever.
That's true as well. But it's just like I know that Magomed's very good, and ideally there's a guy who's not that good at grappling, and there's another, even though he's a black belt, and there's another guy who's really good at grappling, and he's Russian, so he's going to win. But I mean, Jan Blachowicz is really good at grappling as well, you know? This
And
guy drew with Jan Blachowicz, right? And a lot of the reason that he couldn't have a lot of success against Jan Blachowicz just because of the leg kicks, because of the striking. Um, I just, it- every round starts on the feet. Alex has been pretty good at, not getting finished when he gets taken down. He's been taken down, most of his fights. So, like, I think that one hitter quitter is just it's just too good. It's just cheating.
Yeah. And Magomed, despite the reputation that that beard holds and that flag holds, he does not tend to follow up on. I mean, even in the second Johnny Walker fight, which I switched my pick to Magomed for that second fight. I don't know what it was, but there was this wave that hit me, and I was like, wait a minute, Magomed's just a better fighter than Johnny. What am I talking about? And even in that fight where he won and got a great finish, he didn't shoot a single takedown. I don't think he did.
Mhm.
Like the Jan fight, it took 4 rounds or so of getting his legs battered and getting outstruck to finally shoot the takedown on a gassed out Jan Blachowicz.
Mhm.
It's most of his fights, he's not aggressive in the grappling department. I mean, the most aggressive he was ever in grappling was his UFC debut against Paul Craig, where he got triangle choked. And maybe that's a thing that halted him from wanting to be overly aggressive in that department again. I don't know. Um, but he kind of forgets that that's something he has over a lot of these light heavyweights. And even then, he's good at grappling, but he's not Habib. And I think people forget that. Like, he has like what, a 33% takedown accuracy? Like, he's not that terrifying of a grappler. He has good enough grappling that it looks insane compared to some low level like heavyweights.
Hendrix, quick. Tell me a fight that Magomed won because of grappling. Go.
I mean, no. The closest he got was not losing to Jan. That's the closest he's gotten to winning a fight off grappling.
Yeah, a draw. I mean, I'm
That's,
sure there's some that I just missed or whatever, but I can't think of any.
I mean, and Alex, despite what people may think, is his takedown defense great? Hell no, it's not. I mean, he's been taken down in, like you said, almost every single fight. But he has become very patient. He's very good at working his way up, finding his base, and getting back up to the feet. And that's something he's consistently been able to do as of recent, especially since moving back up to since moving to 205. And I think it just has to do with him being simply stronger than everyone. And also he has the basics, and that's kind of all you need at light heavyweight to survive on the ground, to be honest. Um, I think Magomed, when you look at his weaknesses, it plays into Alex's strengths. And I mean, if you're a fan of the light heavyweight division for whatever reason, if you want it to be a good division again, you probably want Magomed to win, as crazy as it sounds, because if Alex wins, this division's dead. It's over.
What else do you
It's
do?
over. There's nothing left for that division.
At least if Magomed won, we could be like, well, here's this guy that tied him, which is Jan Blachowicz, maybe Rakic or Geary can like not get taken down, but like there's maybe something that could happen. But like if Alex wins, it's like that was the worst matchup. Like ideally, he beat all the strikers in striking and he knocked this guy out. Like, what do you do? So yeah, I 100% get that. But I mean, back to like the actual fight itself, I mean, Hill has never been substantially rocked, you know? And
Yeah.
just it's just one punch. And it's just when people say his power is different, I mean, we say that about a lot of people. We say it's just different. It's just different. It's just different. But this is truly like not human. It's actually like a cut above almost anyone we've ever seen. And it's just real hard to pick against him, man. Just how good is this Road Asanya?
Just how good.
Um, but speaking of what, we talked to Jay maybe 2 nights ago, and we realized that it was like Pereira is the better fighter, and we kind of convinced ourselves, oh, matchups and blah 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 blah, right? But at the end of the day, we kind of knew Pereira was a better fighter. We just, like we as a community, meaning like we just kind of, I don't know, didn't think about it like that. And that's also I think where I went wrong in the co-main. Like I said that it was gonna be a close fight, but probably Gaethje's gonna win. But if you were like, who's a better fighter, period, it's like pretty clearly Max. It's like we're all in the space so much that we stop thinking with our brain. You know what I mean? Like, who's the better fighter? Max. Okay, that's it. Done. Why are you why are you overthinking this?
And it's not the co-main, but I appreciate the segue. So you know what? We'll deal with it.
Hmm.
Um, and I just not to toot my own horn just a little bit, because if you remember our 300 pod, what was the fight that I was the most passionate about? What was the fight I ranted the longest about, trying to convince everyone on? This one right here, Max Holloway versus Gaethje. And while it came off very biased, I admit I gave point after point. Max is the better fighter. Max is going to actually naturally bulk up for the weight class this time. Max fought a better version of Dustin Poirier than any version of Justin Gaethje. Max is faster. Max has good head movement. Blah, 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 blah. That's all in the past now. Max Holloway showed just how much of a freak of human nature he is. That man went 24 minutes and 59 seconds with Justin, the highlight Gaethje, and left without a scratch on his body. I mean, how do that? I mean, he took the leg kicks. Everyone was like, oh, but the leg kicks, the leg kicks. I'm like, this man has fought 90 minutes with Volk. Do you think he's just he doesn't know what leg kicks are now? He's just, oh my God, man, I'm gonna fight Gaethje. Wait a minute, he's gonna kick me in the leg? I had no clue. And you know what? He showed the best base for beating a leg kick is thugging that out. And that is what Max does continuously. This man, the man who had quote unquote pillow hands. And remember, I was saying we're seeing a little bit more pop in the shots from Holloway recently. He's starting to add a little muscle on him now. And look how that played out, because Jerome, Max, Kali'i, Holloway went out there and he knocked out the guy who's supposed to knock out everyone. He, oh my God. You know what? Everyone was talking, oh, this is going to be the next Tony Ferguson fight. This is going to be the next Tony Ferguson, just because it's a guy with a good chin and a back tattoo. Well, guess what? He Tony Ferguson Justin Gaethje.
Ooh,
Ooh.
let that breathe, man. That I mean, that I don't think that performance is getting outdone anytime soon. Um, that was the biggest I'm him moment I've ever seen in my entire life. And I've heard a couple pre-Johns because you understand that there's a lot of excuses made, right? One of my favorites now in this fight is that the broken nose was what did it. If he hadn't have broken his nose, he would have like done better and potentially won. right? Now,
Yeah.
the obvious thing
Who
is
broke his nose?
he broke his nose in the fight that they were in, where the goal is to create damage. Like, dude, if Pereira didn't punch Hill, dude,
like
he maybe would have won if he didn't get punched in the head.
like
Um,
I'm sorry. Maybe Max shouldn't have somehow broke his nose with a spinning kick to the body. My bad.
Also, though, that was at the end of the round, a round that Max convincingly won.
He was clearly faster and he was clearly outdoing.
He was already winning. Like, I don't get it.
And like tell like maybe maybe I need to rewatch all the Gaethje fights, but off of every Gaethje fight, if he didn't break his nose, what was going to look different? That looked like Justin Gaethje to me. That
Yeah,
looked like the same Justin Gaethje we always see.
yeah. And I think that like the fact that Gaethje kind of like does this little thing where he crouches down, he always ducks straight down, you know? And Max wouldn't really engage there. He would just kind of like swoop in and swoop out, just using movement, footwork, and he could never pin. Gaethje could never like pin Max up against the cage and start teeing off or anything like that because his movement was so good. And like a lot of people, whenever they see Gaethje like start ducking down, they go, "Aha!" Like Oliveira tried to start using guillotines when he was like, "Oh, he's ducking down. I can punish that with a guillotine." Poirier tried to like knee him in the head or kick him in the head but Max just didn't like worry about it. You know what I mean? Like he would throw a couple punches sometimes, but he was never like, "Oh, well, I need to take advantage of this." He was like, "No, I'll just back out and then box you because I'm better at that."
Yeah. And man, this is why also when we look at performances, we need to look at the context in which they happen. Everyone talks about the Dustin fight because I get it. It's the only fight we saw at lightweight from him. But like, are you really gonna tell me that you're gonna use it as a negative when he went to war with a prime Dustin Poirier on short notice? Like, how is that a bad thing?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I just I think there was a moment. It was either the fourth or fifth round where he was rocking him all night, but he didn't really fully engage. But then there's this time where he hurt him, and he was finally like, you know what, Gaethje's up against the fence. I'll real quick Anthony Pettis him, and then he got really close, but then he realized, you know what, never mind, I'll save you for later.
Mm-hmm.
I got to save it for the last 10 seconds, brother. And
Uh, it just seems scripted, man. Like it's too good, man. I'm not saying it is scripted, but it's like it's the most scripted feeling thing I've ever seen in something that's not scripted. You know, we know that Max does the thing where he points in the center of the octagon, and like they fight there. We know that he's like really, really, really good. He says he's the best boxer in the UFC, and he goes up. He shows he's the best boxer in the UFC. He shows the best kickboxer in the UFC in a BMF fight, destroys Gaethje while getting hit a lot, showing that his chin is good, getting knocked down once, which is kind of cool, and then
wait.
no, it was a
It wasn't.
knockdown. It was not. It
It
was a
wasn't.
knockdown.
It
It
was.
was a knockdown.
If the UFC doesn't count it, I don't count it. Damn it.
It was a knockdown. He hit him in the head. Granted, it
We
was
have a
kind of towards the back of the head, but it wasn't intentionally that way. But either way, last 10 seconds left, does his signature move, points to the center, and then just knocks him out in a way that we've never seen Gaethje be knocked out ever. Uh, he ulted, right? Because Gaethje's ult is a rolling thunder kick, and he always misses his ult. But Max's ult makes you throw down in the center and makes him win.
For real.
Hmm.
And I don't know what it is. Like, there's this weird flow that he gets in sometimes where I'm convinced that the world's in slow motion for him. Because look at like the Calvin Cater fight when he was able to not even look at Cater, dodge all the punches,
Hmm.
when he was like dodging all the flurries from Ortega and teaching him how to block, when he did that with Gaethje, dodging every single punch from Gaethje and then landing these insane combinations on him so quickly. I mean, I don't know how he does it to this day, but he just gets in this flow where he sees everything coming a mile away like you're a snail, and
Hmm.
he's just moving at a like a it's hard to even explain, bro. Max is just insane. And the fact is it is he's been in the UFC since he was 19 years old. He's 32 now. This man has been through insane wars. He's gotten his ass whooped, and yet somehow there's been no deterioration. In fact, I go as far as to say we might be seeing a prime Max Holloway right now in front of us, which feels weird to think about, but also he's so young. He's still developing his craft and he's becoming smarter as a fighter. And to see Max, like, it's weird to say that his low volume is 180 significant strikes in a fight. That's low for him, but he's incorporated it to now. He utilizes the chin, but he also uses more head movement nowadays. He's starting to put more pop in his shots, but he's still using his cardio to throw a bunch of shots at you. So you're still confused. But now he's just visibly hurting people a lot more and more frequently to where I think the real we were talking who's going to beat Alex. I really don't know who's beating Max right now with the groove he's on after last night.
Um, this is an early prediction, but I mean, Topuria better dive for his legs, man. I know that knocking out Volk is like this crazy, really good thing, but uh,
Man,
I
it's
don't know
like,
that anything's more impressive than what I saw.
and also like, what do Gaethje and Topuria have in common? Both power punchers and both throw a lot of looping punches. And throwing a looping punch, it's why I think Dustin and Volk always do better than anyone else against Max, is because they have a thing called, I know a lot of fighters don't know about this. It's called a jab.
Mm.
And it's basically the only useful weapon against Max because if you leg kick him, he doesn't care, brother. He doesn't care, brother. He doesn't feel it. If you throw a looping punch, he's just going to dodge it.
Mhm.
Like, and Ilya throws a lot of looping punches, and I feel like these flurries, those little flurries that he was doing to Volk, and he's done a lot in his career, I can't see how Max won't make that backfire on him somehow. Like, honestly, he better become Ilya to poor Magomedov or something because I don't. You've made jokes about Max calling himself the best boxer in the UFC, and you're like, well, actually, he's not, blah, 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 blah. But like right now, if we're having a strictly boxing match, which both Ilya and Max are so heavy on their lead foot, it probably will be. I'm not picking anyone beating Max in a boxing match right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to disagree. I mean, it's like it's crazy because when you think about most fighters, but okay, no, hold on. My joke was not that haha, Max isn't the best boxer in the UFC, even though I don't think that he is, but it doesn't matter. My joke is that you say you're the best boxer in the UFC, and then all of a sudden everybody says it. Like, if he hadn't have said that, and you say, "Hey, who's the best boxer in the UFC?" Nobody would have said like you probably, and that's about it. Like, there would be almost nobody saying you and Max's wife are like the only two people saying that Max is the best boxer in the UFC, like off the top of their head. But once he says that, then everybody's like, "Oh yeah, yeah." Like, it's like half the people. It's like, who's the best boxer in the UFC? Half people, Max. You know what I mean? Because he said it. I'm like, yeah, that's all you have to do is just say it, and then you're good. But
I
now,
mean,
I mean, most fighters like reach their prime when they're 32. He just turned
yeah,
32.
yeah. We were talking about this off camera, but there's this thing in sports, and I was watching an interview with Seth Rollins. If anyone knows who that is, he's not. People are gonna get into the whole like wrestling, whatever, but that's not important. There's a weird thing with anything athletic where you'll have your physical prime, and that's usually when you're a little bit younger, of course. And then you'll have a mental prime where you're smarter and you know how to use your tools to the best of your abilities. Normally, they don't collide because normally when people hit the physical prime, they're not mentally smart enough to like fully use it. And when they hit the mental prime, the physical is not fully there anymore. What we're seeing here is Max Holloway, his physical prime at 32 is perfectly colliding with his mental prime and him being smarter as a fighter than he's ever been. I mean, we know how I always talk about his head movement because I feel like it gets underrated for his chin, but also he hasn't helped that in the past few years. I mean, absorbing the most significant strikes in UFC history doesn't help. But recently, in the fight with Zombie, the fight with Arnold Allen, and now the fight with Gaethje, the head movement, the distance management, fighting more on his back foot than normal, circling the octagon more. I think we're seeing Max fully using his tools, like his cardio, his chin, that power. We're seeing everything get put together instead of him using his cardio by rushing at you and just overwhelming you. He's finally fully learned how to use all of his tools to make him unstoppable. And he's combined it with being in just more intelligent as a fighter than you. Like, it's one thing, like, technique can outweigh the physical shit, but if someone's a better technical fighter than you and they out physical you, I mean, what are you gonna do?
Right. Jesus, man. I think that we could make this 5 hours long, just glazing. So
Hell
at
yeah.
some point we got to talk about Zhang Weili. Uh, um,
What
so
a
I mean,
gal.
she got knocked down a couple times, right? And that's because Yang Janan is just dynamite in her hands. But other than that, a like nigh flawless performance in terms of like being able to grapple, immediately get into an advantageous situation. People are making the joke that she won by TKO because it should have been stopped. She won by submission because she choked her out, and then she won decision, so she actually won in the three methods of victory at the same time. I mean, that's a great feat. And also, we have a lot of prospects at flyweight, not necessarily strawweight, and that was the last one. So I don't really know what we do now
I
with
mean,
Zhang Weili.
when Tatiana Suarez is healthy, I think she's about all that's really left to give Zhang a challenge at this point. Zhang Weili, man, I made a documentary about Weili for the build of a 300, and shameless plug, all three of the fighters I made a documentary on for the fight week of 300, all of them won. Just saying, Max, Arman, and Weili. I think I'm just like that for real. But Weili, that documentary was just so fun because her career is just such an interesting one, man. It's like when she debuted, nobody cared. Nobody cared about her. She didn't get any media attention. Nobody cared. And now, as she just rose through the ranks, she dominated Jessica Andrade, beat Jessica Andrade in her own style of fighting easily
Yeah.
to become champion. Then, fights with she has those fights with Joanna. She fights with Rose. She's fought some of the best the division has ever had to offer. I mean, she's beaten the strawweight GOAT on 2 occasions, even putting her out once.
She only beat Carlos Esparza once.
Oh, my bad. I forgot. She fought Rose and got perfectly head kicked, like one of the cleanest head kicks I've ever seen in my life. So, but in that rematch, maybe I should go back. I scored the fight for Wei Li, but that's in the past. It is what it is. Can't change it. Then Wei Li fights Carla, is a minus 400 favorite or something like that against the champion, which is virtually unheard of. Goes out there, destroys her with ease, outstrikes her, and completely demolishes her on the ground, which a lot of people are like, oh, the ground, if Carla can take her down, Carla, she might be safe on the ground because that's her thing. I was like, buddy, just you wait. And now she's increasingly getting better. Like, I guess she's a 2-time strawweight champion, but I think this title run we're seeing right now, where she dismantled Carla Esparza to get the belt, absolutely put on one of the greatest master classes in women's MMA history against Lemos, and now beat an always tough Jan in insane fashion. I think this version of Wei Li we're seeing right now is just one of the greatest women's fighters of all time. And if she continues this for a little bit longer, despite how the division is looking, I mean, strawweight GOAT could be a conversation for the future. I mean, moving up to fight the winner of Val and Grasso could be in her near future too. I mean, when you're as good as Wei Li, you have whatever option you choose.
Yeah. I mean, this new and improved Wei Li. So even the old Wei Li was able to beat Joanna twice in solely striking. And
Yeah,
that's just in the two craziest ways, too, which is a war and by knocking her out. You
yeah,
know what I mean? It's the equivalent of if somebody shows up and just beats Izzy by decision and then beats Izzy by knocking him flush out and then like grapples Paul Craig or Brennan Allen to a and it subs them. It's just like, where did you come from? This is like absolutely bananas. So it's not even like it's not disrespect to other girls in the division to be like, what do we do? And double champ status, maybe something she wants. She's not huge for her size. Um, and so I don't really know that that's super advisable, but in terms of skill for skill, she's certainly better, you know? And what did we just say? Bet on the fighter that's better. So, you know?
yeah. More times than not, it works.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
I mean, hats all the way off. Um, any other card, we would be talking about that nonstop. But especially like the cool thing where she kind of choked her out and she was like trying hard to get up and stuff like that. Like any other card, that would be like the focus of the whole card. That was another like almost Joanna level cool performance. But it just happened to be on 300, so it kind of gets overshadowed.
yeah. And I don't have too much to say about this, and it's not because Wei Li did anything wrong. It's just because I feel like it gets very repetitive just to tell you how great Wei Li is at this point. I mean, she's damn near a perfect fighter at this point. I mean, there's small things that can be improved upon, but other than that, I mean, granite chin. I mean, the ability to fight like a dog for 5 rounds, the insane level striking to beat Joanna in striking for 25 minutes, pure insane grappling, like you said. I mean, they must have made her in an insane lab. I want to know where she was made, and I want to know, God damn, who's gonna stop her.
No earthly idea. For this next segment, we have an Armon enthusiast, that being MMA Central from TikTok.
What's up,
Central,
guys?
how do you feel about what transpired between one Armon Saryuki and one Charles Dubronx?
I feel great, man. I was backing Armand for months, and people were talking a lot of trash about Armand Sarukian, and they were saying, "Oh, he's not gonna last. He's gonna get TKO'd and K, or he's gonna get submitted, and all that." And it's good to see that Armand was able to get the win. And though it was a lot of people are saying that, oh, it wasn't a good win, but in my opinion, I think any win over Charles Oliveira is a great win. So.
That's good. There's been a lot of firsts on this card. It's the first time Gaethje's ever been slumped like that, right? And it's the
Yeah.
first time that it's the first time that um Jamal Hill has been knocked down, much less knocked out, you know? And Armon is the first person to ever make a Charles Oliveira fight boring. And I do
All
think that
right.
has a feather in the cap to a certain extent, right? Like it has to take a lot to really to do that. And I think that this will go down in the history books.
Okay. So, so you want to talk about the fight being boring, right? But is it boring at the fact that Armand was slicing him up with elbows for 2 rounds straight and that
He
he was
threw
bleeding?
he threw a couple in the second round, yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing with me. I base off a fight in entertainment if the fighters got in good moments, good exchanges, and I think in that fight there was a lot of good exchanges. I mean, there was that tight guillotine by Charles Oliveira at the start of the first round, and you gotta admit this was a dog fight test for Armand because we've never seen Armand get put in really bad situations except for the Joaquim Silva fight, and we've never seen him get put against these fighters like Charles Oliveira and see how he would do in bad situations. And he showed in that moment that he can survive deep submissions like that, right?
Yeah, it's
And
true.
and in those moments, Armand didn't tap. He found his way out. And I think a lot of people are saying that Armand just laid on Oliveira. If you were fighting one of the best jiu-jitsu artists in the MMA history, I wouldn't want to start throwing ground and pound whenever I want either. You saw the Islam fight, first round. Islam didn't throw much ground and pound either until there was good moments to throw it. If anything, I want you to look at the first round of Islam versus Oliveira, and I want you to look at the entire fight of when Armand had full guard position with Oliveira, and Armand threw a lot more ground and pound than Islam did. Any
Yeah.
moment he had his hands down, he would throw that elbow and he would land it nicely. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of people are trashing Armand for that win. But one thing that Armand's done that no one's ever done before is bring Oliveira to decision and win that fight. So in the moment where he outdid Oliveira for those 3 rounds and won, skill wise, beat Oliveira, not by knocking him down, not by submitting him. No, he skill wise defeated Oliveira. And that's something that no one's done before.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I mean, I could be a little wrong on the statistics, so some nerd will correct me eventually. I don't know. But normally, I think this was the most submission attempts Oliveira has ever thrown up in one fight with 4. And normally, when he throws up at least 2 submissions in a fight or submission attempts, he has a 73, I think, percent success rate when he throws up only 2 submission attempts. That man got put in the deepest positions by the guy with the most submissions in UFC history. He got put in an insane guillotine, and he weathered the storm. He showed insane heart. I mean, he showed Charles Oliveira how to not quit. Let's plain and simple. Like, come on. And I could feel the soul of Beneil Dariush fighting
All
for
right,
this
now
thing.
get the fuck out of
Okay,
here.
okay. No.
Okay,
no.
look.
I'm kidding.
So
But,
obviously I'm joking. Here's how I really feel. Okay. Here's how I really feel about the situation. You can't get mad at the person who's winning the fight for doing a thing that's winning them the fight. Okay? If Arman can lay on Charles and nothing's changing, but Arman is winning control time, then why are we getting mad at Arman? He's winning the fight. He's doing what he's supposed to be doing. Charles didn't try to get up. He threw up submission attempts that didn't work. He tried to get like, cheeky little, triangles and whatnot, but he didn't really try to get up. And he has shown that he's able to against Beneil. He's shown he's able to against Islam multiple times. So he probably could have, but that would have risked giving up maybe his back, maybe letting Arman pass his guard.
Yeah.
And so Charles wanted to fight in a way in which he wasn't in danger of getting finished, but maybe he could get a triangle at some point or something like that. And that is not conducive to winning a fight with somebody like Arman. So anyone who's blaming Arman for, the fight being slow, because I was joking. Anyone who's actually blaming Arman for the fight being slow and stuff like that, it's just, why would he not do that if he was winning the fight and if he was going to win the fight? And like, if Charles would have kept getting up, then maybe Arman would have changed what he was doing and doing something else. So I'm mainly kind of like disappointed that Charles, I mean, I looked up the stats. He threw. So, okay, what was Charles' game plan? To submit? Kind of. It's hard to submit somebody from your guard if they're good. You have to be way better than them. He could, I don't think that was ever going to happen. No part of my prediction ever was he was going to submit him off his back. Like, it's a possibility stacked on top of other possibilities, but it's not very likely for that to occur, especially when Arman is explicitly trying to make sure he doesn't get submitted. So that maybe wasn't his plan. So was his plan to knock him out? He threw 22 significant strikes at Arman's head the entire fight. Not connected, he threw.
He connected 19, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so he attempted 22. That's like, what is that? 22 divided by 3 is like 7. It's almost like one a round. Do you think he was going to knock out Arman by throwing one strike to his head around? Like, what is his game plan? What is he trying to do? And that's the reason I'm kind of frustrated, because I thought that we were going to come out of this fight with somebody that I am now convinced has a chance against Islam Makhachev, and I feel like I didn't get that.
Yeah.
And
but
also,
so wait, so you said someone that has a chance with Islam Makhachev. Are you talking about Arman or Oliveira?
Yeah, either one. That's what I'm saying. Like, if Oliveira would have knocked out Arman or choked out Arman, or won a very convincing decision or beat him up a lot or showed wrinkles in his game, then we could have said, oh wow, maybe he stands against a shot against Islam now. And if Arman would have rolled through Charles for free, then I'd been like, oh, okay, cool. He's able to beat Charles really well. So was Islam. Like, maybe he can do something against Islam. And instead, it was kind of like, I didn't see anything in the fight that makes me think that he can beat Islam, or I didn't see anything really in the fight. Like it's a #1 contender fight. I'm supposed to get hyped for the eventual title fight that comes afterwards. Like, if Rob and Robert Whitaker is supposed to fight Hamzat, if they fought, and then my takeaway is like, it sucks.
Yeah, I get it. But here's my take on that, right? So we saw in that fight the one thing I wanted to see, no, the two things I want to see from Arman is if he can hang with the elites. Now, here's the thing: when I saw him fight Beneil's a great fighter, but when he knocks him out in a minute, I can't make up enough from Arman to say, okay, Arman is a top 5 fighter without a doubt, right? But when he went against Oliveira and he did what he did, he hung with him, and he also survived chokes and dangerous positions. I say that he's made it to that level where he can easily be top 5, top 3, right? And here's the difference with Arman's fight with Oliveira and what it's going to be with Islam. Arman was talking, I think it was the interview with Megan O'Leary, how he was very hesitant and he didn't want to advance positions with Oliveira because of the submission risk that he gave him. And that is true. The difference is between Islam and Oliveira is that Oliveira can threaten submissions whenever he wants. Arman can wrestle with Islam Makhachev, and he does not have to worry about submissions, not even close to as much as with Oliveira. That's my takeaway on that. And if you watch the first fight, and if you go back to any other fight, you can find out that when they rematch, it's usually just as close. Usually fights that get rematches are just as close or just as the same. An example of this, Michael Bisping fought Henderson, right? They rematched when Henderson was number 12 ranked and Bisping was the champion. How close was that fight? Very close. And Henderson looked like he was on his way out, and Michael Bisping was the champion of the division. So I think that's my takeaway on that.
The only difference would be, if Beneil rematched Arman and Charles, he smashes them both.
Vega looks very amused. Bro, stop talking about Beneil for 5 minutes, bro, please.
Look,
Okay, I got this. You're giving these up for free, man. Come on.
okay, look.
Take your meds.
Take your anti-Beneil meds.
Anti-Beneil meds.
All right, one sec. I just gotta. I'll watch the Arman fight over a few times. It'll do it for me.
I need a lightweight that I'm a fan of that most people aren't a fan of because I don't have one. You guys have one. Who should I pick? Dan Hooker? Who should I pick?
Dan Hooker feels. I wouldn't go for that option.
Oh, Hendrix, you have two actually. That's kind of selfish.
Yeah, I'm kind of hogging all of the weird fighters. My bad. Um, you could be a fan of. Dang, how come I'm really good at doing this when it's for me, but when it's for others, I suck at this. Um, you could be a Moicano stan.
Mm.
You could be a Jalen Turner merchant.
Merchant.
You could be a Jakar Close supremacist.
Okay, that's
Why are
enough
we
of this
saying?
thought experiment.
Yeah.
This is
He said
this is
supremacist.
terrible. This is depressing. You reminded me of how awful lightweight is now, dude.
Oh my
Because
gosh.
Gaethje is now in a casket. Dustin's getting the title shot. For a reason, I assume. Um, Arman, his odds are not going to be good going into the Islam fight solely because the last fight was like close and you know what I mean, and Islam's Islam and stuff like that. And now like Holloway's in the mix, but he's gone. He's like going back down, and like Fiziev is hurt and Gamrot's Gamrot. Like what? What? You know what I mean? It's just like what happened to this division? It's a mess.
Yeah, there's a big problem. I used to say that light heavyweight was the biggest mess, but lightweight right now is definitely up there.
This game changes so fast, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Light heavyweight now has a dominant champion.
Yeah. Now,
That's crazy.
after that fight with Hill, I don't know how Ankalaev is going to beat him.
I don't think he will. Yeah, you were gone. Yeah, we don't think he will. I mean, it's just like Ankalaev isn't known for just, Hamzatting people. So yeah, I mean that's what it would take. It's pretty rough, but we're moving down, and we're moving down to Bo Nickel versus Cody Brundage.
Just how good is Cody Brundage?
Just bro, my favorite part of the fight was when Cody Brundage was on bottom and he started fake punching himself
Yeah,
and doing that little cheeky smile. That's
mean-
about it.
yeah.
I mean, name a guy. Bo Nickel, man, what an inspiration. Name a guy who's more unimpressively impressive.
Exactly.
Like,
Bro, that moment where Bo shot a takedown and he threw him.
Yeah. Oh, that
I
was so
laughing
rough.
hard. Bro, I was
Dana
laughing
was
so
like contemplating some dark stuff when he saw that.
hard.
Like,
He's like, why the hell did I put them on the main?
can you imagine how much it would be sick if they didn't gas Bo Nickel? If they just let him go and they just let him fight normally, how much everybody would be like, oh, I'm actually such a hardcore. I know about this guy named Bo Nickel who's actually really good. If they didn't gas him, then everybody would be like, oh, actually he's this underground fighter who's working his way up the ranks. And then like they would feel like they discovered him on their own, which is different than having him fed down your throat.
Vega, amazing point. This is what I
Thank
want,
you.
bro. Bring back naturally building up fighters, dude. I don't like when they shove them down their throats. They did that with Joe Pyfer. Look what happened.
you want to
Look
be
what
in the
happened.
UFC? You want to be in the UFC? Be like Joe
Be
Pyfer.
Joe Pyfer. Just
Be
stop,
like
bro.
Joe Pyfer.
Like, fuck, man. Like, please build them up naturally. If Joe Pyfer, I'm telling you right now, if they made Joe Pyfer fight up, like up the rankings slowly but surely, I can guarantee you he would have been a top 10 fighter. But now they threw him at Jack Hermanson. He got cooked by Jack Hermanson. That hype, gone. No more hype.
Absolutely destroyed. And that's the second best when trash talk goes wrong of all time, because Joe Pyfer became just so full of himself out of nowhere. Obviously, number one's going to be Hill, obviously, because he got so full of himself overnight to an insane degree. He started arguing with randos on Twitter and stuff, dude.
Oh my gosh, Vega. I woke up to everybody talking about that. I'm like, what the hell is he doing? I remember
Everybody
you
in
went
my
live.
chat was saying, get him to reply to you. I'm like, I'm not going to say the type of thing that would get him to reply to me, though.
You said the fact that you could get him to reply to you that quickly, that the chat is telling you to do it, is so funny.
It's ridiculous, man.
It's so ridiculous. I remember you were live that day too. You were like
Mhm.
reading all the tweets and stuff. Oh my gosh,
That was so funny. The guy, the MLK guguy, the guy that was
bro!
talking about MLK, that was like, I was like, dude, how?
They're wild. They're wild.
Oh,
I
that was
can't
rough.
believe it. Like,
That's
why
about
can't
all
they?
that deserves. We're moving on to Yuri Prohaska. I am coming.
Speaking
Oh.
of natural, we have Yuri Prohaska.
Bro, I thought Yuri was gonna lose after the first.
Bro, like I
Leg
said,
kick for chewing him up.
so I was watching with someone and they put a parlay and it was hitting. The last leg of the parlay was Yuri Prohaska, and they were nervous after the first round. They're like, man, I should have cashed out. And I looked over and I said, you've never watched a Yuri fight. This is always the plot. Just
The
you wait.
plot.
He's gonna land something. He's gonna land something. And
Yuri
then out of
doesn't
nowhere,
run through people. He gets beat up until he wins.
he's just like. And also Yuri, another example. I was saying this during the Max Holloway fight talk. The best base to beating leg kicks. Thug that shit out.
Yeah,
Like that shit out.
thug it out.
Like
Like you just act
just
like it's not happening.
just ignore it and it will stop.
Ignore the pain, bro. Just thug it out. Bro, I'm going to say this. Speaking of parlays, Jalen Turner is my least favorite lightweight of all time. I
We'll
hope
get
he
to.
never. I hope he trips on his way to his next fight and like breaks his leg or something, and he can never fight again. Off of that, I'm not gonna lie. How do you perform? How do you get TKO by Moicano, man? How do you get TKO by Moicano? I
We'll
can't
get to
believe it.
that.
I had a 4-leg parlay. I had Bobby Green. I had the Andrade fight to go over 1.5 rounds. I had what other fight? I had Yuri Prohaska, right? And the only person I needed to win was Jalen Turner, and he lost. He did a walk-off after dropping him instead of going for a finish. Why? That's got to be the slowest fight IQ I've ever seen.
I mean,
I've
he
decided that
got.
Jalen Turner is going to be my lightweight.
You say what?
Yes, he's going to be my lightweight. And
Okay.
here's why. Because he has a very good record recently, other than 3 losses that are like, are they losses? You know what I mean? It's like,
They're losses.
nah, they lost them because
I'm
he
sorry. If
beat
you
up
get TKO by
Gamrot.
Moicano, you gotta question your career.
No, 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 no. He wanted money. He couldn't lose. You didn't
You
hear?
couldn't
He
lose.
couldn't. He said it's not an option. That's the only reason he lost. But even then, he could have finished him, but he was too busy getting that. And this is the thing: when you come from a humble beginning, you need $300,000, and so it's really like a class thing. And you guys are kind of poor shaming him right now. You're kind of being like classist. You're kind of you're you know what I mean? You're like making fun of the fact that he needs the $300,000 with the walk off KO, and I'm not here for it. Now, as for
Is
the
this what
other
I?
losses, the Dan Hooker loss, like Dan Hooker is cheating. He's a chin bully. And if he had an ordinary chin, he would have gotten slept like at least 5 times. And Gamrot just, that was ridiculous. Straight up lost. Um, all my homies don't like Gamrot.
Is
All right,
this what I
so
sound like?
this is more coping than Charles fans right now.
Y'all gonna see. Look,
Jalen
Turner's
Turner,
sick.
future champion.
Jalen Turner, future champion. Not only is he a future champion, but I have a special bond with him because we're the same height.
Also, really?
Yeah,
Oh wow, you're tall man. You
that's
know?
me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't look at
But
any full
like,
body pictures. Go ahead.
nah. But you were talking about first times for everything in this card. You saw Jamal Hill getting dropped for the first time. A bunch of new things. But yeah, Moicano getting his first ever TKO ever. By the way, that's incredible. Congratulations to Moicano for that one. I think I was talking about it the day before. How I think Moicano might show up like he's John Jones because of the 300K bonus. But I had Jalen Turner. So I don't know, man.
I
Also,
picked Moicano
congratulations
for.
to the ref for whatever bet he had on Moicano, because congratulations to winning all that money that you had for betting on Moicano, because that was an early stoppage.
Man, um, I picked Moicano, but for my own weird reasons we won't get into.
I'm concerned.
It's just he's part of a bigger storyline involving an Iranian
Oh
assassin.
no. Manil Dariush.
Moving on in the card, we
You
have
said it.
Al Goat.
Al
Goat.
Goat. I was also mad at Al Goat, but I love him too much to be too mad at him. I had him by submission. I had a tenner on submission, but he didn't get it, man. I thought he was gonna do it, bro. But did you see that pile driver?
He got the pile driver, dude.
Oh my gosh, bro.
Slammed him down, toyed with him like he was nothing. He used to have a 91% takedown defense. Not no mores. Not when you come in. Not when you're coming here. Not when you're coming against the Algoat, man. I am
Yeah.
telling you.
Alja Taker.
We wanted.
Dude.
Max is so lucky that it didn't play out. Aljo versus Max, because that would have been Max getting flung around.
Okay, I have a question though. So obviously Aljo is probably gonna be number 8 in the rankings, probably. How do you see him doing in the future against other opponents?
At 135 or 155 or 145 or
145. 145.
145. So not 155 whenever he gets double champ.
Yeah, okay, bro. Okay.
Okay.
When he
No cap.
fights,
I think they
okay.
do Brian Ortega, and I think that Brian Ortega submits him.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, my question is, how good would this fight be in a crotch sniffing fest in Sterling versus Mavzar? I'm telling you.
Dude, okay, Hendrix, you are the WWE expert. You know how to turn a heel into an A side. Okay. You need a bigger heel. When Aljo takes that man's back and starts taunting and wins the fight and saves everybody from Mavsar Evloev, we all gonna be
Face turn.
alcoholics.
Alcoholic?
Alcoholics.
I've never heard that one before. That's goated. I'm an alcoholic now.
Absolutely.
Bro, I think honestly, don't call me crazy, but I think Aljo can definitely beat Mavzar, bro.
Yeah. He stands a good
But
shot
like
at
how
like
much
everybody unless they have like insane hands and good takedown
that's the
defense.
thing, yeah. Like the thing is though, Mavzar versus Sterling. Sterling's a nightmare matchup because Sterling can definitely match the wrestling, 100%. And Mavzar's zero's finishing ability. He has not finished someone since he's been in the octagon, in the UFC. So I can't see him finishing Sterling on the feet or on the ground. So it really comes to, can he outpoint Sterling? I don't know. I don't think he can.
I know. I know the answer. It's no.
It's no. It's definitely a no. And then Al Goat gets to number 4 in rankings. And then Al Goat fights Taporia. And then he knocks him out, headshot dead, Leon Edwards. That's how it
Absolutely.
is. 100%.
Kayla Harrison,
Bro.
dude.
Bro.
I understand what Armand was talking about.
That's a bet.
I'm talking about.
That's
I'm
a
talking
bet.
about. My
You
bad.
talking about? You talking about? You talking about that? You talking? Look, dude, that's a bad girl right there, man. She's gonna she's gonna make Pennington look like she doesn't belong in there, man.
She's a beast, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like I did not expect that.
So here's my thing. Everyone is shitting on the IQ of Jalen Turner, saying he had the dumbest moment on the card. And you know what?
Oh
I know how everyone wants to be chivalrous because she's a woman. We're gonna be nice, but no, fuck it. Holly Holm is the dumbest person alive. 5 seconds into the fight, she shoots a takedown on Kayla Harrison and clinches with her.
Why are you clinching with a judo champion, bro?
One of the showing up in a jacket, dude.
Oh my gosh. Like, dude, that doesn't make sense. And she, like, the first round was so bad. I don't score crazy, but 10-7 wouldn't be crazy.
Mm-mm.
It wouldn't be crazy. That's how bad the first round was, dude.
She landed
terrible.
They landed 2 significant strikes to 51.
Like, that's crazy. That is crazy. Kayla Harrison, and that's not even trashing. Okay? Kayla Harrison threw more significant strikes in that one round than I think Armand Oliveira did in the whole fight.
And bro, did y'all see the part where Kayla hit Holly Holm with her own head kick?
Bro,
like, come on.
It was Kayla is a beast, and like Vega said, I think she's going to trash Raquel Pennington. Oh my gosh, I don't even want to think about that.
Bro, Amanda Nunes, like, I'm not gonna lie, one of the best feelings I've gotten from that division in a long time was seeing a video of Amanda Nunes like in front of the TV watching Kayla Harrison, because I'm like, yes, please please just get. You know what? Strip Raquel Pennington, fake an injury, put it on Kayla Harrison. Let's have the fight right now.
And I think Kayla Harrison honestly is probably the best thing to happen to the bantamweight division for
Of course.
women's right now. If she wins the belt, that division is saved. That division is saved because she is already shown in that Holly Holm fight that she is a great fighter and she has great finishing ability. If you can do that, especially to Holly Holm, who's a grizzled veteran, I don't know, man. I hope she becomes champion. I hope
Please,
so.
Kayla Harrison, save us. Please, Kayla Harrison, you can hear us.
If
Save
you
us.
can hear us.
Dude, if Kayla fought Amanda, like, okay, dude, the year is 2024, and we would all be chewing our fingernails off at a women's bantamweight fight.
100%.
Like, that, dude. I would be more hyped for that than I was like Jamal Alex.
I was gonna say that. I'm like, Kayla Harrison and Amanda Nunes would be probably one of the biggest women's fights, like entertainment wise, like what you can come out of it. Like, bro, that is amazing. That is a great fight.
I think from just a physical standpoint, that would be the most like insane women's fight to look at, just because these are two of like the most physically dominant women in the sport's history.
Dude, I wouldn't be mad at all if they made it a main card of a numbered card.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
Absolutely not, bro. That'd be great. I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
And you already know there's going to be the guys that are gonna be like, oh, women's fight. Oh, like.
Yeah, but it's like I feel that way whenever it's like some cardio kickboxers, Yeah. But like these are just absolute monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, god damn it.
What happened?
Sadiq Youssef versus Diego Lopez.
Fuck.
Oh. Did you pick Sadiq?
Shut up.
I knew it, bro. Oh man. Yep. I had Lopez. I mean, I also had Lopez by submission, but he surprised me with the hands.
May I ask, when did he get this power? Like,
I don't know. It just popped out of nowhere.
In between fights, like he just randomly ate a Mario mushroom or something.
Dude, I'm telling you, I don't know if y'all ever watch Dragon Ball Z, but this dude going in the hyperbolic time chamber or something, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's like somehow getting so much better on each fight. And he already looked amazing when he fought Mavzar. And I think it might be one of those rare things. It's kind of reminding me of, I know you don't want me to mention it, but it reminds me of Arman versus Islam on the debut. Because Diego Lopez debuted against Mavzar. And I feel like somehow down the line, Mavzar will end up being a champion. And Diego Lopez is going to catch up to him and get a title shot.
I think the day Mosvar becomes champion is the day I finally just decide enough is enough for this sport.
Imagine though, it would be so funny. I wouldn't even be mad. It would be that funny. Imagine,
dude, especially if Mavzar just laid on Max Holloway,
bro.
Just lays on Max Holloway and does nothing.
No,
he just gets 25 minutes of control time.
No. What would here's what would make it the funniest thing ever. Like, it'd be funny but also depressing. Mosvar gets beat up for 4 rounds. Max points at the center. Mosvar has nothing left to lose. It's the final seconds. He throws down. He knocks out Max Holloway. His first ever
shins him.
His first ever
out
finish.
Of all people, the decision merchant gets it done.
Yeah. And the best part is that it was supposed to be Max versus Diego Lopez, and then Diego Lopez got injured.
Oh my gosh, bro.
We were all like ready for Max versus Diego Lopez.
Mavzar comes in, misses weight, still wins the fight.
Yeah.
Bro.
Good Lord. But yeah, so no, I'm a Diego Lopez believer now. He needed to beat somebody, because if you can beat people like that, whatever. Like, my thing is, let's take as an example, let's take like Michael Chandler. okay, as an example. He's somebody who's like good. He's like top 10, but he's not at the top, right? But if Michael Chandler were to just join the UFC today and he chose to run at people until he knocks them out, he would just run at everybody and knock them out until he got to like rank 15. You know what I mean? And that doesn't mean that he's the best. It just means that he's like good enough to do that, right? So I have paused these people like Hamza and like Diego Lopez that just, do this insane, just run at people and just knock them out. And everybody's like, oh, that's the next champion. I'm like, well, hold on. Just because, this guy beat this guy in a minute versus Volk beat him in 10 minutes, it doesn't really matter. Like, they both beat them and they have different styles. So don't overrate somebody who finishes people early. Um, that and the hair. And I thought that was a lot of reason why he was getting the attention.
Okay.
No, like, I thought that there's a lot of reason he was getting the attention was the hair. And so I'm like, okay, that's why he's getting overhyped. But I needed to see him do that to somebody who I've heard of, you know? And
Yeah.
we finally saw it. And so, yeah, I'm a believer now.
Yeah, because Sodiq's a great fighter, and
Mhm.
especially to chin him early, dude. Like, I still would have been impressed if he won by decision or something, like a comfortable decision. But to go there and beat him where Sodiq is great at is ridiculous. We're talking about the same Sodiq Yusuff that went to war with Edson Barboza and didn't get finished.
Yeah.
That's insane.
I mean,
like, he's good, dude.
I remember when a certain guy Vega threw this analogy at me one time, so I'll throw it just to see if it lands. You remember that spinning heel kick that almost took out Sadiq Yusuff? Think of it like when you are struggling on a pickle jar and you hand it over to another person and they easily open it. That's what Edson Barboza did to Sadiq Yusuff for Diego Lopez.
All right, now.
So what you're saying is it's not a bit like the Edson Barboza is really strong. He almost opened the pickle jar.
He almost opened the pickle
And
jar.
so Edson Barboza has such knockout power. It's not actually a big deal if he knocks somebody out. Like if you get knocked out by Edson Barboza, it's not that big of a deal. And you can still be good.
It'll never be a big deal to
It'll
get
never be a
knocked out
big
by
deal.
Edson.
By a flying knee.
Oh
I
my
hear,
gosh.
I hear,
like
flying knees.
Benil Dari.
I hear flying knees are actually the most common way for Edson Barboza to knock someone out. So,
oh yeah, really?
No shame from it.
Of course.
And I hear Charles Oliveira has double-digit losses. Could never
shout out to Benil for predicting Armand by decision.
Yeah, bro, he's a genius.
He genuinely predicted that on a podcast with Rampage Jackson. Like, how smart is this man?
Speaking of Benil Dariush and his opponents, future or not, Mone Moicano here just beat Jalen Turner by round 2.
I'm gonna do it. He didn't have the balls to do it, so I'll do it for Moicano. Hey, you want to come back? June or July? I want the money. Fly me out. I'll fight Benil Dariush. I will knock the motherfucker out. Let's go.
I love the idea that he wants money, so he decides to fight Benil Dariush.
I want easy money. Easy money.
We already kind of talked about it, but yeah, Jalen Turner's obviously very good. Mercy turned against him. It was just the fact that he was too powerful, beating him up like invincible. I thought you were stronger type beat against Bobby Green made him be hesitant against Renato Moicano, and that's not something you can do.
Crazy how he got more PTSD from it than Bobby did.
My question is, if he does fight Benil, what's Moicano's path of victory?
Do you think there is one?
In him?
Do you think there is one?
There's not one.
Why do you think I picked this?
Exactly.
It's literally impossible.
I think this could be Benil's bounce back because here's the thing with this. I think Moicano, especially like, we're not going to start making up the fact that he's some finisher now that he TKO'd Jalen Turner, right?
Yeah, like.
Plus, it wasn't on the feet, it was on the ground. And do not think for a second that Benil, out of any game that's gotten worse, Vanille's ground game is amazing. And he has great scrambles. We saw that versus Gamrot, who is an NCAA champion, wrestling champion. So I don't know, man. I feel like if Moicano is to try to wrestle Beneil, it's not going to work.
Bro, what's gonna happen? But Moicano, I describe him as you know how Pokemon have evolutions? He's like the Charizard to no, not the Charizard. What's the one before that one? I need to actually
Charmeleon?
know Pokemon.
Charmeleon.
I don't know. He's before Charizard and Benil's Charizard. So I just think it's gonna be a striking match most likely because Moicano. Come on, you don't have to be an idiot to think you're gonna reliably grapple Benil Dariush for a whole fight. And on the feet, despite what people say, I don't think Benil's bad on the feet, and he hits like a truck.
The thing is
And
with Beneil, and I've said this, is the problem with Beneil striking, he's a kill or be killed fighter. He doesn't strike defensively sound. His defense is his offense.
Yeah, he's a glass cannon.
Exactly. So if he's kind of like Cody Garbrandt, but slower. He throws big shots, and trust me, if those big shots land, they can knock out anybody. But the problem is if he doesn't land those shots and he gets caught instead, he's going down.
Damn it, CEO, we're fully talking about Beneil right now. Okay.
Oh my gosh, wait.
How did you hypnotize us?
I'm
Jessica Andrade versus Marina Rodriguez.
Moving on.
I don't know why Jessica Andrade. I'm pretty sure she was the underdog. I know that Marina versus Michelle Waterson Gomez was one of the most disgusting things we've ever seen
Oh my gosh.
in our lives.
That's such a sad way for you out.
That was terrible. That was awful. That was like one of the most one-sided ass whoopings I've seen. Like that was disgusting. But Michelle Waterson Gomez on the other side of the hill. You know what I mean? She's on the other side of the hill. And that's like the only win that this girl has recently. Andrade, I'm a stan. I'm always gonna stan. So, it was a foregone conclusion before it even started.
Andrade is probably one of my, if not my favorite women's MMA fighter right now, because every time I've watched the Andrade fight, it's always really fun.
Mm-hmm.
She is she's one of the few women's MMA fighters where you do not know if the fight's going to go to decision or if someone's getting a flash knockout because she can put anybody away. She's one of the few power punchers in women's MMA.
And she fought in all the divisions.
Yeah, like she's a beast, bro. And I honestly, with this win that she got, I hope I can see her near a title shot soon because that'd be great.
Yeah. And I remember watching the fight. It was the fight I was defending the most because MMA Guru's unwashed ass, Lucas Tracy's unwashed ass, they were complaining like little school children when this fight got booked. And I was like, man, we got two killers here, two women who are just down to go for it. And I knew it was going to be a good fight, and it lived up to the hype, and I'm happy for that. Man, and all I could think, how hard does Jan hit? Because she would land these like 1-2s on Jessica that Jan would hit on her that put her out instantly. And Marina she couldn't really get it going. Like, it was mostly how the fight went. First round, clear as day for Jessica. The second and third, she would have, like, technically, she would outdo her most of the round. Then with a minute left or so, Jessica would rally up, hurt her a bunch, rock her several times, and steal the round basically by doing that.
Yeah.
I would like to propose a WBMF between Jessica Andrade and Irene Aldana.
Yes, I like that.
Dang. That's gonna...
I think, okay. Also, for anybody who complained about the women's fights, look at the fights and look at the results, and you have to change your mind because those 3 fights were absolutely incredible. Amazing fights. Those 3 women fights were better than a lot of the men's fights.
Yeah,
I mean,
most of them.
the way people described women's fights is the way Aljamain Sterling versus Cater looked. I love Aljo.
And the way that they thought that Bo Nickel was going to do Cody Brundage is the way that old girl did Holly Holm. Like it's the same situation. It's the
Yeah.
same, except that Cody Brundage versus Holly, like Holly Holm is like near the top, kind of. And the other one's Cody
Oh,
exactly.
Brundage.
And can we take a moment to acknowledge that I think something's starting to be exposed that I don't see enough people talking about? For a long time, the UFC has conditioned its viewers to believe they have the best of the best. All the best fighters only come to the UFC. If you're not in the UFC, you're not UFC caliber. That's the problem. That's why you're not here. The problem is the UFC, while having amazing talent, some of the best in the world, they don't have all, everyone who's outside the UFC. It's not that they're bad. It's just the UFC has better promotion than anyone else by far. Nobody can touch the promotion, even though a lot of the other organizations have tons of absolute killers that would do very, very well in the UFC if they were to debut. And we're starting to see that reveal itself with the 2 most recent debuts of big names outside the UFC, Michael Venom Page and Kayla Harrison, both getting very dominant one-sided victories. And, I think this hopefully will show that narrative is stupid in concept because these are professionally trained fighters and a championship caliber fighter in any organization. I don't care if it's the PFL or the UFC, you're still a championship fighter.
And no one starts in the UFC.
No one, and
except for Bo Nickel. Nobody starts in the UFC. Everybody's on the whatever, street beefs. I don't know.
And it's a very narcissistic thing that the UFC has been able to build to make people think that all the best fighters in the world want to go to the UFC. That's not how it always goes. I mean, look at Fedor Emelianenko. He had deals to go to the UFC. He never took any of them. He never wanted to go to the UFC. Usman Nurmagomedov got offers from the UFC, and he wanted to stay in Bellator. I mean,
Cedric Doumbé.
Exactly. Like, just because you're not in the UFC does not mean you're not UFC caliber. Sometimes fighters just don't want to be there.
Yeah. And it could be not only for it could be for pay reasons too. Maybe Bellator or the other organizations are actually paying them better than what the UFC is offering.
Yeah.
And that's also a problem with UFC is that they underpay their fighters a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, like think of Diego might have actually in the long term gotten the most beneficial route because he had a fight on the Contender Series in which he lost. So he went back to the regional scene, worked his way, became a short-nosed replacement to fight Mosvar. And now, I'm going to be real. Right now, he's probably getting paid a lot more than he would be getting paid right now if he would have won the Contender Series and he'd be fighting for the UFC at like right now.
Oh yeah, 100%.
So Bobby Green goes in there against Jim Miller, and he basically just kind of outspeeds him. He just kind of blitzes him, outspeeds him the entire time, and it kind of sucks. But this whole time, the entire time I was watching it, I mean, I picked Bobby Green to win. But the entire time, I was just like, please finish the story, Jim Miller.
Cody, we need to hear the Cody theme.
You have to finish the story. And the story was not indeed finished. But
because the story was never started because Bruce is a coward.
Bro, he didn't say Jim fucking Miller. He didn't say it, bro. So I'm
Bro,
Mm-mm.
disappointed.
you could see it in Jim's eyes. As soon as he said 8-10, it was over.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's fair. But Bobby Green wants to fight Paddy Pimblett, and I, for one, would love that.
that might be the first octagon death. Like, there's no path of victory for Patty, bro. He is going to get chinned so bad. Also, I want to say this. One thing I've realized in that fight with Jim Miller and Bobby Green is that Bobby Green's chin is gone. Anytime Jim Miller connected, you could see the body language of Bobby Green running away and has I feel like Jalen Turner, for what he did to Bobby Green can't take a big shot anymore without
I
really like tumbling back or falling back.
I think it's hilarious that you assumed it was ever really there.
I mean,
Like
yeah,
no. Let's look at Bobby's whole career. Like when people find the shot on him, like what happens with Jalen, it's not as uncommon as you'd think. Like Dustin, then Drew Dober, like et cetera, et cetera. I could probably pull tons of examples if I look throughout his record. Like this man he's been dramatically knocked out more than I can count. And
sure.
he never changes his style. He's always the same. And like to be honest, I think Jim hits hard as hell. And I don't think Bobby ever really had a great chin to begin with.
So
Yeah, but I feel
those
like
are
it's more
actually
apparent.
the only 3 times he's been knocked out. Drew Dober, Dustin Poirier, and Jalen Turner. But they were all 3 knockouts that you would look at and say, "Oh, he's done."
He's
Like
over.
three of, can you imagine if like like Gaethje gets knocked out like that 2 more times and then
Oh
keeps
my
fighting
gosh.
and winning some?
Yeah, like he
Yeah.
got slumped in those 3 fights. Slumped,
Yeah.
you know? So it's like you don't really like come like to be honest, Bobby Green, and I was saying this too for the build up, Bobby Green is a consistent, inconsistent fighter. So he wins some, he loses some. He wins some, he loses some. He's what you call a coin flip fighter. He'll never really, go on a 4 or 5 fight win streak type of thing.
Hmm.
But it's not a bad thing. Bobby Green is a pretty damn good fighter who will always be around in the top 15 to 25 range.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
that's it. I just feel like though in that fight you could see that any shot. The difference is it wasn't the one shot. It was like any shot that would connect on Bobby. You would see body language wise that he felt it.
Right.
Yeah. And
Last but not least, oh, go ahead. Sorry.
nah, it's good.
Last but not least, we have Figgy versus Cody. And I don't walk away from this being sad that Cody didn't win. I like Figgy. I also like Cody. But the thing is, Cody looked great on the feed, man. Great. Okay, he looked great. He looked like, I mean, if he was able to not get taken down, he would have straight up won with not that much difficulty. And so I'm not one of these people that's like, oh, he got fraud checked, oh, he's done, any of this kind of stuff that I've been seeing a lot
Yeah.
of people say. I think that he's still like there. Like he's still, it's just that Figgy has really, really killer hands and he can take you down and submit you immediately. He's just a really dangerous guy. But Cody is like one of the better boxers, one of the better
And
Yeah.
strikers in that division.
I think
and
yeah. Go ahead.
and even in those grappling exchanges, the heart to see he still has that heart in him. The way he fought out of that arm triangle initially, like I don't even know how, bro. Charles Oliveira was taking notes on that one. That was terrifying.
Yeah, I think though it is sad to see Cody Garbrandt go like that. He did look great in the first round. The thing is, though, Cody Garbrandt's always been a great striker, and I think if you put him in safe situations where he will not get chinned, he will outstrike and do better than most fighters. Figueiredo, though, is such a terrible. I don't know why they made that fight in the first place. That's the thing for me. It's like Figgy, I feel like is going to be one of those guys that's going to be able to probably breach the top 5 in the bantamweight division. He'll be able to do it because he's that good. He doesn't really have that many holes in his game. It's pretty hard to beat Figueiredo if your name is not Moreno.
Mhm.
So I feel like he'll be able to do it, and I don't think that loss to Figueiredo is going to age bad for Cody. And I think Cody will win his next fight or 2 fights, but it's really the only way I could see Cody ever being in the top 10 range ever again is if they do a great selection of who he's going to fight. Not Figueiredo. Figueiredo was a terrible. He barely stood a chance. Let's be honest. I picked Cody, but that was out of delusion. So it's like you have to understand. It's like, is he ready to go against these type of fighters? I don't think he is. He has to go against selective strikers who we know he can beat, and that's how you can get him back. And I don't know if there's any of that in the featherweight division. No, bantamweight division right now.
I mean, even a Rob Font rematch, I'd be happier with than a Figueiredo one.
Yeah. I think everybody has been saying this. I don't know if you agree, Vega, but we need a Cruz versus Cody again.
Yes.
I don't know why they aren't doing it.
I think that Cody would probably win at this point.
Yeah. I don't know why they didn't do it for 300. That would have been such a great fight.
Oh.
And they could have, bro, that would have been such a good fight.
Insane.
I don't know why they didn't do it. That could have been easily the feature prelim.
Yeah.
Bro, imagine
feature prelim, bro.
Imagine Cruz at that big press conference with all those dudes there just talking.
That will be the only fight because I saw a lot of people talking about this, that this was like UFC 300 was friends fighting. Because no one disliked each other except for like the Hill. The Hill is like not like shit talking in the sense of hating Pereira. He's just full of himself,
Mm-hmm.
But like everyone else is just happy to be there. They're not like oh, I'm gonna knock the shit out of this guy. Oh, I don't like this guy. Oh, he's trash. But like, oh my gosh, how funny would it be if they had Cruz and Cody, and then Cruz is just talking statistics like he's like.
I mean, everyone's happy to be there unless it's a fan in front of Arman Sarukian.
Bro, they did not like Arman.
Bro, he punched somebody, dude.
That's what I was talking about, bro. Arman punched the motherfucker.
So if you look at the Megan O'Leary interview, the first question she asked after the guillotine escape was, "Why did you punch the fan?" And Arman was like, "Yeah, he gave me the middle finger and tried to punch me, so I punched him back." I'm like, bro.
I don't think he tried to punch him.
I doubt it too. I'm not gonna lie. That's coming from me.
Mm-hmm.
But dude, but at the same time, Arman did make a very good point, and that's true that you can go and try to mess with fighters, especially that have grown up in different regions and places, and just try to insult them. People handle it differently, especially if you grew up in other places.
Yeah,
it's not like the United States and stuff, right? He grew up in Georgia, right? So it's not like
depends on where in the United States, but yeah,
depends on where. Yeah, obviously. But like, you can't just insult he said, like, if you give me the middle finger from far away, I'm not gonna do anything about it. But if you're there and you're insulting me in my face, I'm gonna do something about it.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, that's how I grew up.
Remember that one guy was like, he was up on like the kind of, I don't know what it's called, like up the stairs, and he was like, Marab, we want you to fight Aljo, and Marab climbed that like a bear.
My gosh.
You saw that?
Bro. Yeah.
He was just like, motherfucker, what do you say about me? And it was just like, oh.
Yeah. So that's my point about this. So Marab can go ahead and do that, and he gets no hate. If Arman did something like that, oh my goodness, he would get trashed. Huh?
That's just because he's bigger.
But like at the same time, like, it's because Marab has grown a great fan base, and for good reason. I love Marab, and Arman has unfortunately got put against Charles Oliveira, who is possibly the most loved fighter in the UFC right now. And when you get put against fan favorites, people don't care what you are, you know? But Neil got booed bad, even though he is probably the nicest fighter in the division, you know? And that's just unfortunate. Even Arman was like, there was a question during not the 300 one, but like, you know, before, like, I think a month before 300, they were doing like a press conference, not press conference, but like, you know, they would ask questions, right? And one of the guys were asking, "Are you prepared to be the bad guy for UFC 300?" Arman answered, I'm not a bad guy. I'm a good guy." You know, he's like he does not want to be, he doesn't want to be portrayed as an asshole. You know,
That was
I guess.
one day before he punched a fan, though.
No, it wasn't. That wasn't the press conference. It was I think it was, you know, that media day where they
Oh,
had
yeah,
him
yeah. The
and
one where he said that
yeah,
he wanted to,
yeah. So you know
with
where all
Kayla
the fans were
Harrison.
insulting him and stuff.
No,
Yeah,
that
so it was
that
that day.
was the most cringe thing I've ever seen in my
I
entire life. A bunch
hated
of
that,
sweaty nerds. Damn,
dude. And the champion
Oliveira's
has a
gonna knock
name,
you out. Just
bro.
oh
Even when the fan came in and said, "What round are you gonna knock out the fake number one contender Charles Dubisha Oliver?" I was like, "That's cringe too." I'm not even gonna lie.
yeah.
I'm not gonna side with Armand's fans too. I'm like, bro, that's cringe too. I think if you insult any fighter for no reason, I I don't like the Oliveira fan base, but Oliveira as a human being is a great person. So I
Mhm.
don't think you should hate on him for no reason. Like Oliveira is great, bro, and I don't like when people trash talk a fighter for no reason whatsoever. Like, come on.
Well, this is where I leave, guys.
Uh
Grant
oh.
Dawson, go fuck yourself. I mean,
All right. What is your beef with Grant Dawson, bro?
Imagine beefing with Grant Dawson, dude.
What the fuck has Grant Dawson done to you? Man has no bro does not know you.
That's also funny. That's funnier than liking a random fighter. Just hating a random fighter for no reason is
Hating
also
around for no
very
reason.
funny.
Dude, Hendrix, I can guarantee he watched that video you did. I can guarantee you.
I know for a fact.
With the amount of Vega, I'm sure you watched it too. Have you remember when Grant Dawson got knocked out by Bobby and then
Yeah.
he made yo? That is still one of my favorite videos from Hendrix because that is just so petty.
hmm
That is so petty. Just the day, not was it even the day after, or was it the same night that you posted
The
that?
same night.
It was the same fucking night. Did not waste any time. The fight ended, bro. Just left, went to his phone, and started editing, bro. Like,
I
come on.
waited. I waited.
And then I'm sure he saw it because he got tagged like 50 times in that video. There's no way he didn't. He's like, "Oh, I got tagged in the video," and he's got clicks on it. He's like, "Oh, it's how you get knocked out by Bobby Green. He's like fight IQ."
And then the next day, he makes a video how to make it to the UFC using Fight IQ, handling defeat. I'm like,
Oh
you
my
saw
god,
that shit. I know you
he
did.
definitely saw it.
But the
Does he
next
still
day
make
he
those
actually
videos?
he has a sponsorship with melatonin gummies, and the next day
Oh, you saw that?
he made an ad that was like, when I don't have Bobby Green to help me get to sleep, I use these.
Oh my gosh, that's evil.
Yeah, that's fun.
That honestly though, like for what how he handled it, I'll give him props for that. He
Mhm.
handled the loss very well. Does he still make those videos though? Because I have not seen him on my For You page once
I
since that
think I
fight.
ruined it.
Has he
I
ever?
don't know.
First Tanner, now this. Anyways, that has been UFC 300.
I
First
bullied a
Tanner, now
fighter
Grant
off
Dawson.
the internet.
That has been UFC 300 breakdown. MMA Central. If people want to find you, where can they find you?
You can find me on TikTok. You can look up the Armand guy or MMA Central. You will find me there. And I appreciate being on this podcast. It was very, very fun. Appreciate you, Vega. Appreciate you, Hendrix. So
And
yeah.
Hendrix, as always, where can they find you?
You can find me on TikTok, CEO.Hendrix, or I imagine if you look up the Benil guy, I'll somehow pop up. Look up Hendrix Faye on Instagram, Hendrix underscore CEO on X or Twitter, whatever you call it. All links will be in bio. And yeah, stay tuned.
Signing off.
Appreciate y'all.